Hi. Welcome to the History House. I'm Arma Saeed and you are watching the History of November 3rd on your favorite The History House YouTube channel. Please watch the video till the end so that you will know about the births and deaths on this day. Do not forget to subscribe the channel in order to get daily updates. November 3rd is the 307th day of the year, 308th in leap years in the Gregorian calendar. 58 days remain until the end of the year. 361 Emperor Constantius II dies of a fever at Mopsuestia in Cilicia. On his deathbed he is baptized and declares his cousin Julian rightful successor. 644 Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second Muslim caliph, is assassinated by a Persian slave in Medina. 1333 The River Arno flooding causing massive damage in Florence as recorded by the Florentine chronicler Giovanni Villani. 1468 Liege is sacked by Charles I of Burgundy's troops. 1492 Peace of Etaples between Henry VII of England and Charles VIII of France. 1493 Christopher Columbus first sights the island of Dominica in the Caribbean Sea. 1534 English Parliament passes the first Act of Supremacy, making King Henry VIII head of the Anglican Church, supplanting the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church. 1783 The American Continental Army is disbanded. 1793 French playwright, journalist and feminist Olympe de Gouges is guillotined. 1812 Napoleon's armies are defeated at the Battle of Vyazma. 1817 The Bank of Montreal, Canada's oldest chartered bank, opens in Montreal. 1838 The Times of India, the world's largest circulated English-language daily broadsheet newspaper, is founded as the Bombay Times and Journal of Commerce. 1848 A greatly revised Dutch constitution, which transfers much authority from the king to his parliament and ministers, is proclaimed. 1867 Giuseppe Garibaldi and his followers are defeated in the Battle of Mentana and fail to end the Pope's temporal power in Rome. It would be achieved 3 years later. 1868 John Willis Menard, R. Louisiana, was the first African American elected to the United States Congress. Because of an electoral challenge, he was never seated. 1881 The Mapuche Uprising of 1881 begins in Chile. 1898 France withdraws its troops from Fashoda, now in Sudan, ending the Fashoda incident. 1903 With the encouragement of the United States, Panama separates from Colombia. 1908 William Howard Taft is elected the 27th President of the United States. 1911 Chevrolet officially enters the automobile market in competition with the Ford Model T. 1918 The German Revolution of 1918–19 begins when 40,000 sailors take over the port in Kiel. 1929 The Guangzhou student independence movement occurred. 1930 Getúlio Vargas becomes head of the provisional government in Brazil after a bloodless coup on October 24. 1932 Panagis Tsaldaris becomes the 142nd Prime Minister of Greece. 1935 George II of Greece regains his throne through a popular, though possibly fixed, plebiscite. 1936 Franklin D. Roosevelt is re-elected President of the United States. 1942 World War II, the Coley Point action begins during the Guadalcanal campaign and ends on November 12. 1943 World War II, 500 aircraft of the U.S. 8th Air Force devastate Wilhelmshaven harbor in Germany. 1944 World War II, two supreme commanders of the Slovak national uprising, Generals Jan Golian and Rudolf V. Wyst, are captured, tortured and later executed by German forces. 1946 The Constitution of Japan is adopted through Emperor's assent. 1949 Chinese Civil War, the Battle of Dengbu Island occurs. 1956 Suez Crisis, the Khan Yunis killings by the Israel Defense Forces in Egyptian-controlled Gaza result in the deaths of 275 Palestinians. 1956 Hungarian Revolution, a new Hungarian government is formed, in which many members of banned non-communist parties participate. Janos Kadar and Ferenc Munich form a counter-government in Moscow as Soviet troops prepare for the final assault. 1957 Sputnik program, the Soviet Union launches Sputnik 2. On board is the first animal to enter orbit, a dog named Laika. 1960 – The land that would become the Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge was established by an act of Congress after a year-long legal battle that pitted local residents against Port Authority of New York and New Jersey officials wishing to turn the Great Swamp into a major regional airport for jet aircraft. 1964 – Lyndon B. Johnson is elected to a full term as U.S. President, winning 61% of the vote in 44 states, while Washington, D.C. residents are able to vote in a presidential election for the first time, casting the majority of their votes for Lyndon Johnson. 1967 – Vietnam War – The Battle of Dark begins. 1969 Vietnam War – U.S. President Richard M. Nixon addresses the nation on television and radio, asking the silent majority to join him in solidarity on the Vietnam War effort and to support his policies. 1973 Mariner program – NASA launches the Mariner 10 toward Mercury. On March 29, 1974, it becomes the first space probe to reach that planet. 1975 Syed Nazrul Islam, Ahm Camaruzzaman, Tajuddin Ahmed, and Muhammad Mansur Ali, Bangladeshi politicians and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman loyalists, are murdered in the Dhaka Central Jail. 1978 Dominica gains its independence from the United Kingdom. 1979 Greensboro Massacre – 5 members of the Communist Workers' Party are shot dead and 7 are wounded by a group of Klansmen and neo-Nazis during a Death to the Klan rally in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States. 1982 The Saling Tunnel fire in Afghanistan kills 150,000 people. 1986 Iran-Contra affair – The Lebanese magazine Ash-Shira reports that the United States has been secretly selling weapons to Iran in order to secure the release of 7 American hostages held by pro-Iranian groups in Lebanon. 1986 The Compact of Free Association becomes law, granting the Federated States of Micronesia and the Marshall Islands independence from the United States. 1988 Sri Lankan Tamil mercenaries attempt to overthrow the Maldivian government. At President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom's request, the Indian military suppresses the rebellion within 24 hours. 1992 Democratic Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton defeats Republican President George H. W. Bush and independent candidate Ross Perot in the 1992 U.S. presidential election. 1996 Abdullah Katli, leader of the Turkish ultranationalist organization Grey Wolves, dies in the Sazerluk car crash, leading to the resignation of the Turkish Interior Minister, Mehmet A., a leader of the True Path Party, DYP. 1997 The United States imposes economic sanctions against Sudan in response to its human rights abuses of its own citizens and its material and political assistance to Islamic extremist groups across the Middle East and Eastern Africa. 2014 One World Trade Center officially opens. It is the replacement for the World Trade Center Twin Towers, in New York City, after the towers were each destroyed by airplanes during the September 11 attacks. Births on this day 30 October. 1957 Dolph Lundgren Swedish actor. 1949 Anna Wintour English-American journalist, editor. 1933 Amartya Sen Indian economist, Nobel Prize laureate. 1918 Bob Feller American baseball player. 1815 John Mitchell Irish journalist, activist. Deaths on this day 30 October. 1996 Jean Bedel Bokassa Central African politician, second president of the Central African Republic. 1957 Wilhelm Reich Austrian, American psychotherapist. 1954 Henri Matisse French painter. 1926 Annie Oakley American target shooter. 361 Constantius II Roman Emperor. Thanks a lot for watching the History House YouTube channel. Please like this video and subscribe the channel for latest stories on daily basis.